Hello and welcome back to a new episode in our worst weapons run of Ultimate General Civil War, and today we are going to fight alongside the Georgia Railroad. We can only bring one corps onto the battlefield and I've decided to bring our third. All of our infantry are Armed Springfield M1842 with the exception of the farmers and the reborn farmers. And to make sure that we have as much of an advantage as possible, all of our units have been reinforced to 2,000 soldiers, with the exception of Whittaker, who is now numbering 2,500 men. We're also going to bring 2 batteries of 12-pounder howitzers, 4 batteries of 10-pounder ordnances, and 2 batteries of 6-pounder field guns on the field. A quick look into our armory reveals that we have used up all of the available farmers and reborn farmers, and that we still have over 786 Springfields in stock. And our career point from the last battle was invested into economy, giving us a nice discount. The enemy force in this fight is going to number over 36,200 soldiers and 135 artillery pieces. They're also going to bring over 57 brigades onto the field. Our third corps is only 34,700 soldiers strong with support of 160 artillery pieces. General, our scouts report that a Confederate force is heading to our trenches. We need to deploy our men and repel the attackers. Hold your position at all costs, or else the Confederates will be able to reopen Georgia Railroad and receive valuable supplies. The battle can begin and our soldiers are rushing into position. We are able to man the entire front line, and we have sent some skirmishers out to hold our flanks and to scout out the area. We are going to build up a huge artillery line over here, and these artillery positions, these trench lines are going to get support by some additional artillery. I don't know if it's a good decision to hold this line. We could easily be outflanked or overstretched, but we have some forces in reserve, so if necessary we are simply going to pull back. Our farmers and reborn farmers, I hope to keep them as a last reserve, because they might easily be killed off. Over here we have Whittakers and Moody skirmishers already in position. The men of Stafford, Haskell and Meagher are going to hold over here. I want these boys further in the forest. We can see that General Smith is coming up. And over here we have Lomax skirmishers holding this flank. And depending how strong the pressure is, we're going to send our reboards over. Over here these 10-pounders might be able to give flanking support if the enemy advances from this direction. And our 6-pounders and 10-pounders are now also setting up. Some of our artillery pieces were even able to hit the enemy general. And now we can see a huge contingent of enemy forces. Many of the enemy brigades are already under strength. Let's hope we can group up our artillery and put out some impressive fire. For now I'm going to order our guns to hold their fire. And the whole rebel army is now advancing. We can see that there is another general approaching from this direction. And as soon as these guns are able to open up, I am going to order the entire line to open fire. We can see that our 6-pounders are now opening up. Okay, let's order our guns to fire. Meagher skirmishers are trying to fall back. We have Haskell's boys over here opening up on the flank of Lowry. Stafford skirmishers so far have not been spotted. Let's make sure that Meagher's boys reattach. Haskell skirmishers can also reattach. There is no point keeping them around. These boys are routed. Let's hope they are not blocking the field of fire of our soldiers. 6-pounders, get ready on Strahl. These 10-pounders, do we have a better position for them? Not yet. They can fire at will. Over here more skirmishers are advancing. We have enemy forces in those woods. Let's make sure that Penrose plugs this hole. And we should be able to hold this side for now with relative ease. Over here we are getting company. And we lack the options to give large-scale artillery support over there. These 6-pounders, I want them to get a little bit closer. Maybe this allows us to open up with shrapnel on Carter. Down here we have the Florida Brigade out. Can we get Penrose a little bit forward so that they can help? This would be good. These 10-pounders are opening up on the enemy flank. The 6-pounders are opening up on Carter. We can see that over here we are still holding. Mahone took a couple casualties from artillery. And I think it is time that newbie skirmishers get reattached as well. The enemy is moving up and we can't really hold them back. Our soldiers are not in range. And yes, Penrose is able to open up on the Florida Brigade. The same goes with Lomax. He should now also be able to open up. Yes, these are some nice casualties we are able to deal. Carter's men are also taking casualties, but we can see that a huge force of enemy forces is moving up over here. Let's get Nicholas and our reboards over. I also want these 10-pounders to shift their attention. The rest of our boys can focus fire on Carter. With support of the 10-pounders, 6-powers and Haskell's forces, we should be able to get through this force relatively easily. Our supplies are close to our artillery. Everything is looking relatively nice. Florida Brigade is falling back. Let's get our general closer. Where is he? There's Gibson. We need to get him closer to Haskell to make sure that he stays on the battlefield as long as possible. Mega skirmishers are reattaching. And as long as this unit doesn't fall back, we should be able to hold out. Over here, the enemy is not really pushing. Can we get Mahone's skirmishers out to figure out where the enemy is? We have found Courtney's artillery, we found Gibson's soldiers, but we do not really have an option to attack. We will simply have to wait until the enemy starts to push or exhaust themselves completely. The Florida Brigade is coming up again and Penrose took over 100 casualties. As soon as the enemy gets in range, we are going to be taking quite a few. Let's get Lomax boys out and let's order them to move on the doubles so that we can actually open fire on that exposed flank. Down here, Haskell simply has to hold. We can see some soldiers moving down there. Stafford skirmishers, I want them out to figure out what the enemy has in this direction. And it looks like the enemy is now trying to push our right flank. These 12-pounders have not yet seen action. Let's get Bates boys forward. And with the support of Lomax, we should hopefully be able to drive away the Florida Brigade with relative ease. Penrose is able to open up on the Orphans Brigade. And we can see a charge from Govan on Strafford's skirmishers. 6-pounders are still focusing down here. Some of our 10-pounders are shifting their attention and Govan should be pulled into the line of fire of Stafford, exposing his flank. Down here we can see that some enemy forces are pushing, but they shouldn't be able to break through. And we can see that Florida is running again. Now, Lomax, push forward on the Orphans Brigade, deliver a couple good hits, then you can withdraw again. We can see that the Florida Brigade is already back in action. Let's make sure Lomax gets back to his fortifications so that we can draw Florida back in. Govan has withdrawn. Let's get Stafford's boys forward again. And depending on how this situation develops, I might send Burnside and Moody forward in the hopes to outflanking these soldiers. Mahone skirmishers can reattach. Whittaker's boys were routed for the moment, but they can also soon reattach. We have multiple cavalry units coming up. Yes, Whittaker is now able to reattach. Wonderful. Let's get Stafford's boys back, otherwise the enemy cavalry is going to catch them. And let's hope that we can get those forces while they are advancing. And it appears that the entire enemy front line is shifting towards our center. Let's make sure we can figure out if this is actually true. We are going to send Bates forward. We have 2 hours left to hold. So far we have taken only a few casualties. In total, only roughly 3% of our forces have been killed or wounded. And we have once more lost eyes on the Florida Brigade. Let's commit. Yes, we can commit to the attack of Lomax as Florida is trying to break through over here. We can see that the enemy has more soldiers in the area. Bates was flanked by God knows what. But this means that we can't easily push out. We could send Bates forward, trying to attack Anderson. But so far I think it is better to just bleed the enemy out. Let's get Moody behind McCord, just in case. And Major Gerald Scales is wounded, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, he is commanding some of our artillery. With these 12 runners, I want to shift their attention to the Florida Brigade that is out in the water. It looks like the enemy is focusing their fire against our artillery. Let's make sure our 10-pounders hit these forces. They are in contact with our men. And I want these 6-pounders to move further over here. Do we still have supplies? Yes, we have some supplies. Let's get them up here. 12-pounders, focus down. Bates skirmishers can reattach. And I want Bates himself to move up over here. This way we should be able to get on the flank of Anderson. We should be able to support McCord, and we should be able to withdraw if things get dicey. I want Cook skirmishers out to deal with Carpenter as long as we still can. Down here, multiple enemy brigades have fallen back. We can attack Smith, but we have to withdraw before the Orphan Brigade comes back. Yes, we are getting flanked. We need to get Lomax back. His morale is wavering. He's down to 33%. If we don't get him in cover, he is going to fall back, opening up our entire side. Bates is able to open up on Johnson. Can we get Mahone forward as well to make sure that we are not getting outflanked? Wonderful. And for a brief moment I heard a charge. I can't see anyone charging. Maybe they're now going to come out of these woods, who knows. These 10-pounders are able to open up on Smith. Penrose took a couple hundred casualties, but so far everyone is holding out fine. Enemy cavalry is trying to make a run for it. Let's give Mahone's skirmishers the hold order. Together with his main force, he should be able to hold them back. Brigadier General Alfred Bates is wounded. Very unfortunate. Bates, can you focus your fire on Mackay? With the support of all of these forces, Mackay should be dwindled down quickly. And I want Mahone skirmishers to pull up on Johnson. Bates' casualties are now rising quickly. I don't know if it's worth it holding him here. Oh, there is some more attention from the enemy. Yeah, no, I don't think it is worth it. Let's order Bates back. Mahone skirmishers can also reattach. We are driving back some enemies over here. These 10-pounders have unfortunately ran out of ammunition. And we now have some more attention. Penrose is almost completely out of cover. Let's order him back. And let's order Lomax skirmishers forward on the flank of these forces. We should be able to do something. These 10-pounders, I want them to open up on the enemy flank. Allen's cavalry is coming up. Mahone skirmishers reattach. So far we are holding quite nicely. Alan's cavalry is not going to be able to break through. They just took a bunch of casualties. And we can see that Cook's skirmishers are able to move up on the enemy flank over here. Haskell's morale is still looking good. They've destroyed over 600 enemies. The Orphan Brigade is going to suffer severely in this fight. Penrose unfortunately took a bunch of casualties. We are soon going to replace him with Nicholas, I think. Come on, alarming skirmishers, why aren't you firing? You have the perfect flanking position. And our 12-pounders over here are down to 18 artillery pieces. The same goes with the 6-pounders, but they're doing amazing damage. We can see that this unit is falling back. These skirmishers can move forward, maybe. We can see that Blakely is coming up. As long as they don't have repeating rifles, we should hopefully be able to do some damage. Good volley. Can Schultz fire on them? McCord is holding out. Anderson is holding down. Allen is coming back again. Mahone, come on. A good volley and Allen should be completely annihilated. Well, almost, but not enough. We are definitely going to deal with Allen's cavalry. These skirmishers are taking a bunch of casualties and they are apparently... well, they're doing a decent amount of damage, but I don't think it is going to be enough. Let's disengage and order them to reattach for the moment. Over here it looks like the enemy has withdrawn for the moment. Along with skirmishers can reattach. Penrose, I'm going to switch you out with Nicholas. And I want the skirmishers of our reboards to get ready so that we can scout out what is in the area. We can see multiple brigades still in those woods. But I am certain they are not going to be able to break through. The battle is in the meantime heating up down here. Let's get Burnside forward, but in this way so that we can make sure our field of fire is not getting blocked. And over here I want Bates to move out. Mahone skirmishers, can I get you out for a moment to hit Anderson in the flank? It looks like Allen's cavalry was repelled successfully. Maybe we're able to move up on these forces and destroy some of their guns. Nicholas is in position. I'm going to order him forward. I am going to grab the skirmishers of the reboards to make sure that we are not getting outflanked. Let's get Nicholas up over here on the double so that we can get on the flank of the Orphan Brigade. And we can get Burnside forward to hit Cunning. We can see that Phillips is running away. Mahone is able to open up, but he is taking casualties. And we are now greeted with more and more enemies. We can send Bates forward. No, we cannot. Multiple enemies on our flanks. Let's hope we can deal with the Vid and then push forward, otherwise we're going to withdraw. This is almost the last battle of this entire war, and therefore I want to limit our casualties. Enemy attention is shifting. We have found multiple enemy artillery positions. What can we do? We could send soldiers out. We would need 2 or 3 brigades. So let's hope we can deal with those infantry first. Then we could attack. These reboards in the meantime can of course get on Parma, at least for a short while. I am not expecting big success from them. Bates is getting bled out. I am going to order him to fall back. I want him out of contact. My own skirmishers are also falling back. There is no point to engage over there. Burnside in the meantime is doing some good work. I want Lomax out of cover. I want him to attack Parma. I want his skirmishers to also move forward. Penrose is in the meantime going to take his positions. As long as Gist is not advancing, we should be able to deal some quick casualties with the artillery. Let's get the reboards on the flank. Let's get Lomix skirmishers forward. Haskell is still holding, killed over 700 enemies. Down here, Burnside didn't took a single casualty so far and is able to open up on Smith, who shouldn't have a lot of cover. Mount skirmishers reattach. Ammunition is becoming a problem on multiple sides as we only have one resupply wagon. And thanks to the tree line, we should hopefully be able to limit the casualties our infantry are going to get as we are attacking their guns. I want meager skirmishers out to hit the flank of Colbert. And I can hear a charge, but I cannot see him. Our supplies are almost empty. Let's get them to the north. And we can see that those artillery pieces are getting slowly hit. Yes, there is at least one battery withdrawing. We have two more on this flank. We have multiple cavalry units on that flank as well. Everywhere else we are holding. Burnside is now taking casualties. Is he able to hit? No, he is not. Let's order Burnside backwards and let's make sure he moves on the double. Maybe we can draw the enemy back in. Burnside is momentarily rear flanked, but he should be back on his post without much trouble. Haskell is still holding out the enemy. Mega skirmishers are now taking a lot of casualties, but they are able to hold back the enemy. And Palmer's battery is almost destroyed. We have Smith coming up. Nicholas, focus on Smith. He should have his flank exposed. We can see that Benton is coming up. Are we able to destroy Palmer? Then I'm going to call this a success and we are able to fall back. Further over here, we are holding. I am going to order McCord, who's killed over 1,200 rebels already, to fall back, and to order Moody to take his place. Whittaker is also still looking good. Mahone could be replaced, but the other unit is just as strong as he is. Ammunition is running out in our center. Let's get Webb down there. And yes, it looks like we have destroyed Palmer's guns. Therefore, let's order Nicholas and Lomix to fall back for the moment. We will have to draw the enemy back in, so that we can repel their infantry again and then get back to their artillery. But all in all, their artillery is not causing that much damage. So even if we are unable to annihilate it, it is not going to be that big of a problem. Bates, I want you to run out of our fortifications quickly, get Anderson and then fall back. These 6-pounders are down to 16 artillery pieces. The same goes with these 12-pounders. Depending on how the situation develops, I'm going to order them backwards to get some resupply. Or better, I'm just going to call the wagon somewhere in the middle so that everyone gets a little bit of ammunition. And now we will simply have to wait and see if the enemy is coming back again. Nicholas, I am going to make sure that you are going to replace Haskell. He is almost out of ammunition. He also took a lot of casualties. And we can see that Smith is coming up again. Over here, we are still bleeding out the enemy. And I want Burnside to move up on Cunning again. They shouldn't have a lot left in their center. I also want our farmers to push up on Phillips if possible. We have 18 minutes left to hold. We can then potentially try to get as much casualties on the enemy as possible. Bates is bleeding. The enemy range is much superior to ours. But at least we got another nice volley on Anderson out. Wonderful. Cunning is falling back. Burnside is pushing forward on Pettis. Our farmers are going to try to deal with Phillips. Supplies are now coming up into the area. Haskell is falling back and Nicholas on the double. You need to replace Haskell's. Boys before the enemy can exploit this gap. And we can see more enemy forces coming up over here. Now, let's get Lomax and Penrose forward again, together with these reboards and Lomax's skirmishers, so that we can deal some additional casualties. Pettis is running back again. We can hit him another time. Wonderful. And we can now move back up to these forces. Phillips is retreating. Gowan is in the area. Our farmers did an amazing volley there. Let's just make sure they do not take too many casualties. I want Penrose to get on Gist. Brigadier General Jimmy Morgan is wounded. Lomax, get forward on those artillery pieces, and these skirmishers need to outflank the enemy. And the commander of our farmers is wounded. Let's order them to give off another volley, then they can fall back. And this was the last volley of the battle. At the beginning of the fight, we had over 30,100 infantries and 160 artillery pieces, and during this battle we only took 3,700 casualties amongst our infantry, and we have lost 8 of our artillery pieces. On the Confederate side, they had over 30,700 infantry, they had over 1,300 cavalrymen, and they had 135 artillery pieces. And at the end of the battle, over 10,300 of their infantry were killed or wounded. The same goes for over 480 of their cavalrymen, and we were able to destroy 10 of their guns. We have achieved our goals. And the best unit on the battlefield was Meager with over 1,400 kills, followed by McCord with 1,200 kills, and Haskell with over 848. And our losses are led by Haskell, who suffered 532 casualties, followed by Meager with 526, and by McCord with 480 men lost. Within our officer corps, we can celebrate the promotions of Sean Lawman to Lieutenant Colonel and Willie Douglas to Colonel, and unfortunately we have suffered Gerald Skates, Jimmy Morgan, and Alfred Bates as wounded. And once again we got some supplies from the enemy. We have received over 67 Shafts Model 1855, we have received 30 sword-offs, 92 Remington M1861, over 1,486 Harper's Ferry M1855, 277 Tyler Texas, and 196 Pattern 1853 Enfield. And lastly, we got an additional Pattern 1861 Enfield, 3 10-pounder ordnances, 16 Lorentz, and 62 MJ and G Type 2. We also rescued 22 rebound farmers and 22 farmers from the battlefield, as well as 2 of our 12-pounder howitzers and 2 of our 6-pounder field guns. We have also received another career point and 5 reputation, as well as $225,000 and 21,300 fresh recruits. And our third corps is still looking quite well. We are easily able to reinforce all of our soldiers and to also bring our other corps up to a decent size. Maybe we are also able to recruit some more fresh soldiers, but I think I personally am going to prioritize the size of our brigades and not their total number. In the next episode we are going to storm Richmond, but this has to be it for now. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and until we meet again, I wish you all a great time.